Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Hunter. Welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And in today's episode, the topic is reasons why this Clippers team may be the best team they ever had in the history of that organization. So that's the topic I want to get into in today's video. But before we get into that, I want you guys to please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Also be on the lookout for our Dreamerspro Premium community that's coming out this weekend. Also be on the lookout for Dreamerspro.com, which is coming at the end of this month. Anyway, let me get into the topic here. I'm a little bit winded because we've been producing a lot of topics here. But anyway, let's get into this topic here. So, last season the Clippers had some issues last year, issues with the roster, some issues internally with their locker room, and some of those things held them back as far as coaching decisions, not making adjustments in the playoffs last year. So they had some issues last season. However, they had the talent to really go out there and compete and win an NBA title, right? But they didn't, and they fell short. And they weren't able to make adjustments, especially in that Denver Nuggets series, right? Some people thought that, listen, Doc Rivers was coddling players too much. He was being too preferential towards Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Some players didn't like that. Just so many issues, right? However, this year, things have been different. And it starts off with the coaching decision, right? They decided to part ways. Steve Ballmer and Lawrence Frank and these guys decided to part ways with Doc Rivers, who had a pretty soft landing because the moment he was, his contract was terminated with the Clippers, I think about within a week or two, he already had a job with the Philadelphia 76ers, and I think he signed a 5-year deal with that team. So Doc Rivers was able to bounce back, have a soft landing and land with a pretty good team in the Eastern Conference, who I believe has the number one record in the Eastern Conference thus far. But they went out there and they got Tyrone Lue. Although Tyrone Lue was the assistant coach for the Clippers, and he was there last year, but I think now some people who kind of were asking the question of whether or not, well, I thought Tyrone Lue was there last year, so what's the difference? I think now it's pretty clear to see the difference when you go from being an assistant coach to the head coach. So first of all, they went out there and got Tyrone Lue. And Steve Ballmer said, without a doubt, he believes that they have the best coach in the NBA. And Steve Ballmer, being the former CEO of Microsoft Computers, it's very easy to see why this guy was so successful in his life, but also why some companies are so successful. Some companies have the philosophy that in order for them to be the best, they need to go ahead and get the best people. It literally is that simple. Some companies, however, on the other hand, want to achieve the best results by cutting corners, meaning by kind of economizing on the type of staff that they go out there and want to hire. They may want to say, okay, they may want to take the volume approach and say, okay, we want to get as many people that we can fit under a certain a salary cap, so to speak, and they just kind of settle for mediocre people, but still at the same time expect exceptional results. I've worked in some different companies and I've seen that kind of play out where you don't really want to spend money on talent, but then you want extraordinary results. Steve Ballmer has a complete different approach. Now, granted, in the NBA, the market kind of dictates what you're supposed to earn, but in some cases, you can negotiate a little bit higher. And given your value and what you're able to negotiate, you can earn more than what the market says you may get. So the market may dictate that you may deserve a $3 million a year salary as a coach, but if you can position yourself a little bit better, you may end up getting 5, right, or 5.5. So they went and got the coach, and Steve Ballmer is one of these guys that believes for paying for the best, and then by doing so, that can lead to the best results because you have the best personnel. He went out there and got Tyrone Lue, and immediately you can see his impact. He decided to implement a different offensive philosophy from that last year. There's a lot more ball movement. They've been using the triangle in different sets here and there to kind of accommodate Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, given the fact that these guys are fantastic post players and run the offense through the post to be able to slow down other offenses. Because let me tell you something, when it gets into an up and down game, if you cannot throw the ball in the post to slow down the tempo and score in the paint, it's going to be a disaster. But the Clippers have been able to do that with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, given the ability to play with their back to the basket. That's one thing. Secondly, that the new coach has done, and which is one of the other reasons why I think this is probably the best team this organization has ever had. Kawhi Leonard is not playing back-to-backs. Kawhi Leonard, for the first time in a very long time, is playing back-to-backs. I think that does not happen without Tyrone Lue being there. And, of course, Chauncey Billups and these other guys, which is another acquisition that's gone under the radar, the acquisition of Chauncey Billups to that coaching staff. Kawhi Leonard is playing back-to-backs, and you can see the effect of Tyrone Lue. right? Kawhi has a complete different approach, and some people only speak about leadership on the court, leadership on the court. But if you have a great leader and a coach, like a Larry Brown and these guys, that also goes a long way, right? Like a Phil Jackson, that goes a long way. Tyrone Lue has been an amazing pickup for the Clippers thus far, and you're beginning to see that he's holding players accountable. You can tell. You don't even have to be there to understand that this team has really improved on that side. Now let's move to their stars, and Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are having outstanding years this year, right? I mean, let's just face it. These guys are having amazing individual years. Let's look at Paul George for a second. Paul George is, first of all, having a bounce-back season from that in which he had last season. The guy's averaging 25.5 points, 6.3 rebounds, and 5.5 assists. To show you how much of a jump that is, the season prior, for the Clippers, Paul George averaged 21.5 points. He shot 44% from the field, 41% from the three, 87% from the free throw line. He got you 5.7 assists, 5.7 rebounds, 3.9 assists, and 1.4 steals. This season, Paul George is averaging 25.5 points per game. He's shooting 49.7% from the field. That's almost, let's just say 50% from the field. He's shooting 6 percentage points better this year than he did last season. This season, he's shooting 51.6% from the three. 51% from the three. He's shooting 90% from the free throw line. Paul George is having a 50-40-90 season. To put that into context, he's playing with the efficiency at the rate of a Kevin Durant and Stephen Curry. Kevin Durant and Stephen Curry, the only other players out there that can go out there and be part of the 50-40-90 club, right? He's shooting 90% from the free throw line. I mean, he's averaging 6.3 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and 1.4 steals. Paul George is having a sensational season statistically. He's probably having his best shooting season ever in his career. Go back and look at his career. There's been no season that Paul George has shot over 50% from the three, and there's been no season in his career where he shot over 46%. Over 47% from the floor. So it is safe to say that Paul George is having a career year. If we look at Kawhi Leonard, on the other hand, who is their best player, the guy's averaging 25 points a game, like Paul George. So the two stars are averaging 50 a game, 5 rebounds, which is low, which I believe is going to go up, but he's averaging a career high in assists. Kawhi Leonard is averaging 6 assists per game, which is a career high thus far for him. That is a byproduct of the offense, the coaching staff, the mentality of this team. These guys are having career years. Kawhi Leonard is shooting 47% from the field, which is virtually what he shot last year, which I said he would shoot earlier when he was shooting poorly from the field. At one point, he was shooting 40% from the field, but it doesn't stop there. The guy's shooting 44% from the three. 44! Now, obviously that number may come down, but if the guy shoots 40% from the field, from the three, that may be another career year, although Kawhi Leonard has had some pretty high... No, one time he shot 44% from the three for his career. Whatever. 86% from the field, and he's getting you 2 steals a game. These guys are having career years. And when your two best players are having career years as far as productivity and efficiency, guys, let me tell you, this is probably another reason why this may be the best team the Clippers have ever had. And these guys are averaging close to 12 assists per game combined. They're 2 stars, right? Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, another reason, are the best 1-2 punch the Clippers have ever had. This organization has never had a better 1-2 punch than these two players. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, right? Easily, Kawhi Leonard is easily the best player, easily or by far the best basketball player the Clippers have ever had in their team history. Easily. Name me another player. Blake Griffin? Chris Paul? Who's been the player? Lamar Odom? Who has it been? There was a better player than Kawhi Leonard. So they have the best player in the history of that franchise, and probably a top 20 player all time on their roster. And this year they even added championship experience, with Kawhi and Serge Ibaka. So for me, I think for all of these different things, this may be the reason. These are the 4 main reasons why this is the best Clippers team ever assemble in the history of this organization. And given the fact that this is the best team that they ever assembled, this is their best chance ever in the history of the Clippers organization to win their first title. So what I want to know from you guys is, do you agree with the things that I said, or do you disagree? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section below. Again, if you enjoyed the video, please make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever we drop our content. Once again, this is Charles here from Dreamerspro, wishing you guys an amazing day. Catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.